Hello everybody, hope that you are good. Quick Bitcoin update, because I'm gonna go to the cinema in a bit to watch a new movie, Oppenheimer. This is not an advert, but the movie looks good, so don't give me spoilers in the comments, although probably when I upload this video I'll probably be in there in the cinema. But anyway, let's talk about Bitcoin, what is Bitcoin doing? Well, yesterday we were talking about the idea that we had 2 weeks, one to the upside, one to the downside, and that we were favoring the idea of the week to the upside to get filled first. Okay. Nevertheless, Bitcoin dropped below the 1 hour 50 MA. The trading idea that I said yesterday was Asia doomed, London needed to hold, and then Bitcoin could pump. All right. But the problem is that Bitcoin dropped, okay, to fill this liquidity pool. That's the idea that we said. But it needed to close this candle over here, above the 1 hour 50 MA. That's the purple line. So you can see how it didn't. It closed below the 1 hour 50 MA. Then the next candle tested as resistance, and then it drops. All right, so that would be a nice short scalp. Okay, now what can we expect today? Well, first of all, if we check the Bitcoin dominance, all right, you're gonna notice that it's not moving exactly the same as Bitcoin. Okay, yes, we have this drop. Okay, then the 1 hour 50 MA held, and then it went up. But Bitcoin is not moving the same. Okay, check out Bitcoin. The Bitcoin just fell below the 1 hour 50 MA. The Bitcoin dominance is something like this. All right, but Bitcoin is not doing so. What does that mean? That means that even if Bitcoin, I mean, it seems quite stable, to be honest. It's moving up and down, but you mean it's holding this zone over here at least. All right, so it's quite stable. But if you go and check altcoins, what's going on with altcoins? Check Solana, bleeding. Check Matic, bleeding. Let's continue. Check XRP, bleeding. Okay, that's essentially because the Bitcoin dominance is up. Now, let's have another look at the Bitcoin dominance. But the idea that I have here to share with you is that as long as Bitcoin doesn't dump, okay, because in theory, the Bitcoin dominance it's highly correlated with Bitcoin, positive correlation, so it basically follows Bitcoin. So as long as Bitcoin doesn't dump hard, okay, and the Bitcoin dominance can hold or continue pumping, then what we can expect for altcoins, for example, the case of XRP, is maybe we can see a recovery. You can see here this liquidity pool. So that's going to align together with the 1 hour 50 MA. Okay, if we see this pump over here, fill this, well, retrace this liquidity pool, test the 50 MA as resistance, and because the Bitcoin dominance is looking quite strong, then you can favor shorts. All right, that's my view with altcoins at the moment, because I saw somebody asking me on Twitter. So that's what I think about altcoins at the moment. Okay, you have a video that I uploaded on Sunday. That was quite an interesting video because it was made for spot buyers. At the moment, I'm a trader. I think this market is more for a trader. But in the next months, I'm expecting, or I'm hoping, that I can become also a spot buyer if we see cheaper prices. So in that video, we were marking the buy zones for 12 different altcoins. So go and watch it, guys, if you are interested in buying altcoins for the bull market, okay? But in the shorter term, something like that would be nice, okay? The Bitcoin dominance is strong. I want to favor lower prices in altcoins, but for that, then I would like to see some kind of retrace, maybe something like this, and then you can continue dropping, okay? That's what I have in my mind. Now, if we go back to Bitcoin, something that it's quite interesting is that if you notice Bitcoin is holding here, okay? But if we go to the dollar index, you're gonna see how the dollar index is pumping. Go to the 4 hours time frame. I don't know if you remember, I think that was Monday's video, if I remember correctly. So that was 3 days ago. I'm pretty sure that we were around this zone here. And I was saying that we were expecting the dollar index to continue pumping, okay, because it's looking very strong. And that would be very bad for Bitcoin. And the two targets that we marked was this resistance over here, okay, and also we marked this liquidity pool over here. Right? So our idea was that Bitcoin was probably gonna come all the way to this resistance, okay? And if I say Bitcoin, I mean the dollar index, sorry. And if the dollar index went above the resistance, tested a support, then we could aim for this liquidity pool over here at 102.60. I'm sure some of you will remember that. Now you can see how the dollar index has gone above that line, tested a support a couple of times, and let's see, because if it consolidates over here, we can maybe see one more spike, retrace that liquidity pool, okay, or maybe there is when you can see a little retrace, okay, just to continue going higher. That's what I think for the dollar index. Now, if you put this together, you have the dollar index pumping, which that's bad for Bitcoin because Bitcoin trades against the dollar index, okay? So in principle, Bitcoin should have been dumping, but it hasn't. And now if you put that together with the idea of the S&P dumping, why is Bitcoin holding up? Why is Bitcoin not falling yet? Is that a sign of a strength? Could be. Anyway, let's talk about this setup. Okay. We also talk about these setups. We were waiting for a deviation either at this level over here, or if we could push higher, then a deviation at this level. Now you can see how the S&P is forming a deviation already here. Okay, which basically is telling me that if we lose this level over here, okay, if you lose this level, that's a clear short to me to fill this gap. All right. Now, I didn't catch this short yesterday because it happened pretty quickly. Okay. So what I'm waiting here is either I want to see a breakout below this zone, okay, or a breakout and then consolidate below resistance. That would be ideal because that's usually a good place when you can open a short. Okay. And then I'm going to target this gap over here between 4,336 and 4,300, okay? So that gap is what I'm looking at. That's $200 down, all right? So that's what I'm expecting. Or if we see some kind of retrace here, all right, test this zone as resistance again, then I'm going to open another short here with a stop loss at the highs, all right? So that's what I'm looking at the S&P. But do you mean if we check, I don't know what I clicked, the 1 hour time frame, look at the S&P dropping. Go to the dollar index, 1 hour time frame, the dollar index pumping. Go to Bitcoin. It's holding, guys. Check this out. Why is it holding? And they said this pump, the retrace, holding. So at the end of the day, what is still in the same zone? The Bitcoin is not dumping. Why? Well, I want to believe that that's a sign of strength, but the chart is not looking great neither, okay? Daily time frame. We close that candle. Hey, what happened to my range lows? Let me mark them there. Right? Yeah, that's my range lows. Now, you can see how that was a deviation. Alright? We close the daily candle below the range lows and also below the 50 MA. So look how many candles here below the 50 MA in the daily time frame, but still it's not pushing price lower. Why? Why, if it keeps testing it at resistance, it doesn't drop lower? It's weird. Okay? So I don't know what's up with Bitcoin at the moment, but usually you see maybe a couple of hits of 2, 3, 4 hits to the 50 MA in the daily time frame, and then you want to see a drop. Now, it didn't happen, okay? You saw a drop that got straight away pumped up, and now another retrace. So at the end, you're in the same zone. You have a liquidity below. Let's go back to the 4 hour time frame. You got liquidity below, a liquidity above. Both of them are gonna get filled, but it's quite difficult to figure out which one is gonna get filled first, okay? So that's why we have to try to go in lower time frame and look for potential setups, okay? What do we see here? All right, so what I see here is a potential W formation. Check this out, okay? Now, for me to open a long today, what I would like to see is another spike here, a retrace, test the 50 MA in the 1 hour time frame as support, right? And that's when you can see another pump, retrace, pump towards that wick, right? So that's one setup, but for that, of course, I need to see this second leg up above the 50 MA, a retrace holding the 50 MA in the 1 hour time frame. That's my long, so that will be around 29,230, and then I'm gonna aim for the wick above 29,946. That's the 50% of the wick, and that's the first target, okay? That's the setup that I'm looking for today. Now, could Bitcoin go lower? Yep, but for that it needs to break below this zone over here, okay? So as long as this zone holds, we're fine, okay? We can range even more here, or we can have a short squeeze, but the moment that we lose this zone, of course, you know, if you look below this white line, what do you see? Of course, you see the wick. There is not much more below, okay? So not much to scalp here, because this, I think, like, as long as we are in this zone here, so as long as we are in this zone here, there is nothing to do. I'm not trading this small range of $200, all right? But the high probability trades, in my opinion, would be a breakout below this zone towards the 50% of the wick. That's a scalp, all right? Or in the opposite direction, a W formation, pump above the 150 MA, test it as support. That's my long, and then you have all the way here. That's, of course, this is more tasty, okay? So what do I prefer to see? I prefer to see the long setup scenario, because there is a lot more distance here, okay? It's a 2.5% trade. Otherwise, this is small, okay? It's like a 1% trade. So, of course, I prefer to see the long setup, but I'm only waiting to react to Bitcoin, okay? Because I'm telling you, this week is particularly difficult to read. So, if any of you have been making money this week, congratulations, okay? It's been quite a difficult week, okay? So, what's gonna happen next? We'll see. That's why I'm open-minded to these two scenarios: W formation or lose this zone and go for the wick, okay? That's what I'm looking for today. Now let's have a look at high block capital. We're in high block capital, and if we check this liquidation levels map, my conclusion is that there is more liquidity below, okay? Because if you check the spikes at the right, you see more of a cluster of spikes below. Here is quite regular to the upside, but it's true that you got two very important levels. You have 29,500, and you also got here that one, 30,080. That matches with the wick, with the 50% of the wick. So what I would like to see is a spike up to liquidate these high leverage traders at 29,500 and the wick at 30,000, and then a drop to go for these liquidations, okay? I don't know if that's going to happen. That's my theory. That would be a wick to wick trade, because you would go for the wick to the upside first and then the wick to the downside. But let's see what happens, because at the moment it's not that clear, okay? So I'm leaning towards that scenario. I would really like to see the long scenario playing out, because we have more distance of a high probability trade, which is really good, okay? 2.5% move, even if you use times 4 leverage, that's a 10% trade. I mean, that would be great, okay? So that's what I'm hoping to see. W formation, gap of the 1 hour 50 MA, test their support. That's when I can open a long, then target the 50% of the wick at 29,950. You could even aim a bit higher if you want to go for these liquidations at 30,080, and then from there maybe we can see a drop for the wick below I think it's around 28,500 or so. So that's what I'm hoping to see. That's my Bitcoin analysis. Now I've seen that some of you are asking for more altcoin updates and so if so, let me know please in the comments what altcoins you want me to do. There were some altcoins that I didn't chart, for example XRP or Cardano. There were some altcoins I didn't chart, so let me know what altcoins you would like me to chart next, and maybe we'll do a second part. Alright, so thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon.